Hello, I'm Christine Fortner. I'm here at the Art Museum of Eastern Idaho, and this is my show, Still Life Paintings. I've done still life paintings for 35 years throughout my career, and it started in watercolor. I moved on to acrylic, and then I moved on to oil, and now I kind of go in between all three of them whenever I feel like it. Still life painting for me has been a way to take a break from something else that I might be working on, a series of paintings or something, and take a break and do a small still life, and it kind of, small colorful still life kind of gives me a break and change of pace, and then I can go back to what I was working on. So I started early in my career, let me just say, the 35 years I've been painting, 32 of those were in Alaska, in Anchorage, Alaska, where I taught painting and also did my own work. So I'm going to start with the watercolors because that's what I first learned. And I started doing still life because I love glassware and I really wanted to paint it, but glassware by itself can be very static and boring. It's very symmetrical, and there was nothing, it was hard to make a good composition with just glassware. And so I thought, I tried bright patterns, and I love daisies. So the flowers and the different grasses and things like that break up the symmetricalness of the glassware. They also add color and help the composition. So these are some of my early ones. This is from 1998, 2009, 2004, and then I started learning about using acrylic paint. So down here, this was done in 2006, and it's just some daisies in a glass jar. And it was the first time that I didn't use a patterned fabric or something to set up a traditional still life. And I have a theory, a philosophy that you have to paint honestly, that you paint, you can improvise and make some changes, but you don't leave a whole background to just figure it out later. If you have red fabric in the background, you paint the red fabric in the background. Well, this happened to be out my window in Anchorage, in the studio I was working in, and these trees were across the street, and that's what I saw, so I thought I would incorporate them and make them muted and simplified. So it was a background, and I kind of liked it because I'd never seen anything like that before. This is a more current run. Most of the paintings in the show have been done within the last 2 years. Most of these are more current oil paintings, like this one, of sunflowers. The first painting I ever did was of sunflowers, and I do paintings of sunflowers probably 3 or 4 every year, and have since I first started painting. I just adore them. With the progression of all these paintings over the years, I was playing around with different techniques, and it helped me learn how to move the paint around the way I like it. So some of the paintings have very thin paint application, because that's what I was working on trying to figure out then. Some have very thick application. My grandmother raised violets and taught me how to take care of them, so they're a constant joy for me, especially in the winter. And this is the same violet done different years. This one was acrylic, this one's oil. And this one was this is called Spring Snowballs. Coming from Anchorage, I'd never seen a snowball bush in our new house here in Idaho Falls. It's 30 years old, and it had a 30-year-old snowball bush that was enormous. So I had to try painting that. So this is some of that thick paint, really thin paint in the shadows and very thick where the light hits. So these were for this series of paintings. This is Dancing Tulips. I have always loved tulips, and of course, got to get the glassware in there and the reflected light. And one of the things that I learned with my painting was to try and model the shapes so that if a sculptor was going to sculpt that, they would know how it turns in the light and they would be able to sculpt it. So especially when I'm working with a yellow tulip that's round, I had to accentuate some of the shadows to show the form as it turns in space. So this has been a really fun series to work on, and I hope people can get down here and see it.